Hey all you Husker fans, this is Austin and I'm here with you today to talk about our upcoming schedule. Let's go and dive into it, okay? Now, this season's schedule is going to be a lot tougher than last year. Now, let's go ahead and let's see. Nebraska 2017 schedule. Okay. Now, a lot of the stuff is very similar from last year. It's just a couple key additions to the schedule. And let's go and delve right into it. Okay, so we have Arkansas State, which should not in any way be a challenge. However, you never know with the Cornhuskers. Now, let's go ahead and highlight the key additions that we see. We see that we have the Penn State Nittany Lions. That's not going to be an easy one. I think we all know that. They're coming off a Big Ten championship, and realistically, it's going to be very challenging to compete with them. Now, as for the rest of the schedule, it's mostly the same. However, we did add Northern Illinois and Arkansas State as our non-conference games. The Oregon Ducks stay the same. Now, let's go ahead and go over it game by game. Now, a lot of fans, they want to find out what could be our end schedule. That's one of the most important things that they look for. So, I figured, let's go ahead and go over it. If we evaluate every single game of their season, what would it realistically look like? Let's go ahead and start. The first game is against the Red Wolves. And as a non-conference opponent from the Sun Belt, I believe, they are just simply, in terms of talent, they can't be comparable to the Cornhuskers, even though it may be a sort of a rebuild year for us. I'm not sure I would call it a rebuild year, but I think that I would have a lot of confidence against Arkansas State. Now, the interesting game comes at Oregon. Now, Oregon, according to ESPN FPI, is rated, is heavily favored at 81%, I believe. So, that could be, I'm not sure I agree with that, because although we are going through a slight rebuild stage, Oregon also is in a bit of a rebuild stage. Obviously, they have the new head coach, and they're simply getting into their new system. So, it's almost a similar situation to us, even though we do have a changing defense and offense at the same time. Now, I do believe that it's about a 50-50 shot at Oregon. Now, it's in Eugene, and they are a very explosive crowd. I don't think they get enough credit for that. I would honestly have to skip that one for now, because I'm just not sure about that one. Let's go on to the Northern Illinois Huskies. Now, this team is not a joke, because I believe it was perhaps a couple years ago they competed with Ohio State. And I would never count this team out. They are playing in Lincoln, so that'll definitely be a plus. So I would give us the win. I don't think that's one to worry too much about. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go on to the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Now, I don't need to talk much about that one. I'll give us the dub. Next, the Illinois Fighting Illini. The big question is has Coach Lovie Smith really done a big change, a big upgrade to the team? Has he gotten their chemistry to flow yet? If he has, then we may have a problem. But I would, even though regardless going to Champaign, Illinois, I would have to say that we could probably get the win. Now, here's another thing I'll say. It's a Friday night game. You got to look into that too, because Mike Riley was saying that he wasn't a huge fan of doing Friday night games, and that he wanted to cancel them coming up in the future because they messed up his schedule. So I would just look at that one as an interesting game, and I think that's going to be kind of exciting doing a Friday night game, but I would look for the dub at the Illinois. Now, here's where we start talking. the Wisconsin Badgers, October 7th. That could be either a game changer for our season, or it could be a sign for danger. Now, this game, unlike last year, is going to be played in Memorial Stadium, obviously, because we played at Camp Randall last year. So, here's what I would say. If we can stop Wisconsin's explosive run game, which we haven't been able to do in the past, then I think we have a good shot at winning. The problem is, their run game is traditionally very sound, even though their passing game isn't greater than par. It's so hard to stop their scheme, because they had traditional big running backs like Melvin Gordon, and so I would have to say, and also Corey Clement. I'd say if we could stop their run game, we could make them one-dimensional. But we'd have to just wait on that one. Now, Ohio State. I honestly am not sure if we could realistically, perhaps if we came off some momentum from beating Wisconsin, we'd still be at home. Remember that. It could be a trap game. It's not like we're going to the Horseshoe, okay? Because that's what we did last year, and I know all you guys probably remember that game, but it's in Memorial Stadium, and we can't do much worse than last year. I mean, right? Now, I would probably say we'd take an L, but if we could at least make it competitive, like within a 10-point game, I would be pretty, I'd appreciate that. Now, we have an off week, which is key, because we just came off of 2 huge opponents there. And let's see what else we have at the second half. We have Purdue Boilermakers. Now, this is a very huge rebuild. After listening to Big Ten Media Days a couple days ago, I would have to say this is a huge rebuild. And they have a new head coach there as well. So, even though, regardless, playing at Purdue, I would give ourselves the win. I would be surprised if we were to lose that. But like I said, you can never guarantee anything with the Huskers. Now let's go on to Northwestern. This is perhaps one of the most interesting. This could be a surprise game of the year. Now, Northwestern has returned a lot of talent. They have Clayton Thorson at quarterback, and they have an explosive running back. So, here's what I have to say. We have to come out and ball, because they're not just going to put up like they did last year. So, I would have to say that we got to put everything on the line, and I would give us a, 60-70% chance to win. I do think we have a very good chance of beating them, but they're an upcoming power in the Big Ten West. Now, this is also a very intriguing team, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. With their new head coach, PJ Fleck, I would say that they're definitely will become more explosive on offense because of his energy and his constant motivation towards his players. So I would absolutely not count them out. I think that could be an upset. That could be a very competitive game. I would give us the dub, but I wouldn't be surprised if we lost, to be honest. They have a very explosive run game, so we also have to slow them down, like Wisconsin. Okay, so then Penn State, I just don't know. We're playing in Beaver Stadium. They're coming off a Big Ten championship, and they almost won the Rose Bowl. I'm not sure, because they're a college football playoff candidate, I'm not sure we can really compete with them because of their dynamic weapons, like their explosive quarterback and, obviously, their Heisman candidate running back. which Saquon Barkley. It's their running back. And then we have the Iowa Hawkeyes. This rivalry, quote rivalry, always seems to it always seems to surprise Husker fans because most years we're heavily favored. Like last year, we were favored to beat them. And we played. I'll give them this. We did play in Iowa, but regardless, we have more talent than they could handle, and they embarrassed us last year, 40-10. So I absolutely would not count them out. It's a typical Friday game. That's always been going on. But I wouldn't count them out. They could be another power in the West that we could see rise. But they're also an unpredictable team because there was a lot of hype last year after the year that they went to the Big Ten Championship, where they were ranked in the top 5 at one point 2 years ago. So they are a bit of an unpredictable team, just like us. So I wouldn't count them out. Now, the Big Ten Championship game, well, we'll just have to wait on that one. I would predict for the Big Ten Championship game, I would say if Ohio State could win their key games in their on the East side of the conference, then they'll probably make it in. They're definitely a college football playoff team, candidate team. So I would say they come out on the East, and then from the West, I don't see how you can't go the Wisconsin Badgers. But I heard that Northwestern was set at 2. They were favored to finish the season at 2 on the Big Ten West, which intrigues me a lot because I haven't heard a lot of hype build up for them. So that you just have to wait on the season to see. But the Huskers are favored at 3 to finish third on the Big Ten West. So we'll just have to wait and find out on that. Okay, guys, that kind of about wraps it up. So we'll just have to wait and see on the season. I can't wait. I don't know how many days it is. It is September 2nd. I know that. So it's less than a month. Well, no, not quite. But it's about a month. So getting really hyped for that. So well, enjoy your day, guys, and take it easy.